This is Nicholas Snow. And what can I say? You gotta vote.
Gotta get up.
Gotta get to class.
Gotta pay that tuition.
Gotta get a job.
Gotta move out.
Gotta make my own decisions. About my own health.
About my own life.
Gotta stay positive.
Gotta keep working.
Gotta keep believing.
That it's our country.
Our country.
It's our country too.
Gotta keep moving forward.
Not back.
Gotta keep hope. Gotta vote.
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 I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
Visit www.gottavote.com. That's GOTTAVOTE. www.gottavote.com. Hi, this is Nicholas Snow. Welcome to the show. If you happen to go to Disneyland and you find yourself surrounded by 30,000 or more fabulous people, the majority of whom are wearing red shirts, you may have landed during Gay Days at Disneyland. This fabulous multi-day event takes place every year, and in 2012 it's happening October 5th through October 7th. That's a Friday through a Sunday. For its 15th year, the event is expected to attract more than 30,000 LGBT park hoppers from California and all over the country. Now, if you are listening to this episode of my show after the event has passed, have no fear. It's an annual event. Just go to Gay Days Anaheim for all the details, and don't go away, because I'm going to bring you an exclusive interview with one of the founders of this 15-year-old event, Eddie Shapiro.
You thought it was simply raining men. Well, now it's actually snowing men and women and transgender folks as well. Although this storm originated in Hollywood, it has simply become too powerful for Tinseltown to contain. In fact, it's now a snowstorm of global proportions, engulfing people of all genders and sexual orientations, from all walks of life, in every country, and throughout cyberspace. In the forecast, we have adventures in the world of travel and entertainment, news of current events, sexuality and politics, lifestyle, fitness and spirituality, personal empowerment, pop culture, and more. So grab your snowshoes or take shelter. If you want help with the drifting snow, grab a shovel and get ready to call, chat, or tweet, because a blizzard is inevitable. At the center of the snowstorm is one of the world's promo homos on the go-go, Mr. Nicholas Snow himself. His slogan, small screen, big queen, worldwide audience. You heard it before. Now you'll hear it again. Over 6 feet of snow has hit the internet. Yes, as you anticipated, perhaps with great excitement, or with fear and trepidation, or maybe even with unadulterated joy. It's time for SnowbizNow.
And as promised, I'm very happy to welcome to the SnowbizNow studios Eddie Shapiro, who, along with Jeffrey Epstein, has created Gay Days Anaheim now in its 15th year. Congratulations, Eddie.
Thank you. Congratulations of being really old is a dubious congratulations, but I'll take it.
Well, you set yourself up for a question, I wondered. The photo that's on your Queens of the Kingdom website with the two of you, that you're looking very fun and playful, when was
taken
that?
In 1902.
1902, okay.
No, that picture was taken, I think, it's probably about 4 years old.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're not as old as you're professing to be.
No, I just feel old. I'm weeks away from my event, so I feel ancient.
Oh, I'm sure, and you probably don't get any sleep right now.
I actually sleep like a baby.
Oh, well,
I wake up in the mornings, and it's actually quite wonderful. I'm so busy right now, as anybody who works on events can tell you. It gets crazier and crazier. But I wake up feeling invigorated by the work. I'm not feeling overwhelmed by any of it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I get to do this. It's really kind of wonderful.
Tell me how the idea for Gay Days Anaheim, which is the unofficial Gay Days at Disneyland, came about.
It was a sort of confluence of events. Part one was that Jeffrey and I had gone to the former gay nights at Disneyland. Once upon a time, a group called Odyssey Adventures used to do an evening in the parks after hours, and they would have what was called Gay Night at Disneyland. And the problem that we found was that we went, and it was okay, but you'd get there, and many of the rides would be closed, the restaurants would be closed, there would be no fireworks, no parades, no characters out, and it sort of felt like less than the Disney experience. It sort of felt like, after our good guests, after our normal guests go home, you people can come in and enjoy this. And it was, we didn't really like that feeling. It was almost like being asked to use the back door. That same year, we went and experienced Gay Days at Disney World, which is now, I think, in its 22nd year. And at that event, as you probably know, about 100,000 gay men and women descend on the Orlando theme parks and wear red shirts throughout the park, and there are parties. And we kind of, looked at each other and thought, this is quite wonderful. And Jeffrey, more than I, wanted to bring it here to Disneyland. I was skeptical. But he kind of convinced me, and we did. So it was both to transport what we enjoyed in Orlando, and also in sort of response to this gay night thing, we wanted to do a more traditional mix-in where you could be there all day in the park and have the full park experience that every other family has when they go there.
So, are you required to always use the word unofficial in your marketing when you promote a gay event at Disneyland, and what are the technicalities around that?
No, we're not required to do that, and in fact, we don't do that. It's not on our marketing materials.
Okay, so what is the official? How do you officially refer to your event?
We call ourselves Gay Days Anaheim because we are not allowed to use the word Disneyland because Disneyland is a trademark word. So we call ourselves Gay Days Anaheim, but we are unofficially known as Gay Days at Disneyland.
Okay. And are there different events are there different groups that you know of that produce similar activities at Disneyland?
Nothing of this scale. I mean, there are all kinds of things that happen at Disneyland that are not produced by Disney. For example, there's the Goth Day that happens annually, and there's Dapper Days where people go and dress up, and those events sort of are spread by word of mouth. There are fan groups like Mice Chat, which is a great online Disney fan site, and they do meetups in the park. But nobody does an event of this sort of scale at Disney that isn't produced by Disney.
Okay. So the 2012 Gay Days at Disneyland are set to take place Friday, October 5th through Sunday, October 7th, and this is the 15th year, and you're expected to attract more than 30,000 LGBT park hoppers from California and all over the country, and virtually every one of them will be wearing a red shirt. Many of them will have gotten your official T-shirt in advance from the Gay Days Anaheim website, or I imagine they can get them as they check in.
Yeah, at the Gay Days Welcome Center at the Grand Californian Hotel. We have a big welcome center at the Grand Californian, which, if you've been to Disneyland, is their sort of flagship hotel. And in our welcome center, we sell party tickets, and we sell the T-shirts, and we sell the pin, and our vendors are there giving away free stuff. So the welcome center is really, really fun. You said, that all of these people will be wearing red. I can only hope so. Sometimes, as the years have gone on, people have decided, or some people have decided, that they're gay enough as is, and they don't need to wear the red. So there are a lot of gay people. You see a lot of gay people in the park who are not necessarily wearing red. And I always think that's too bad, because part of what's so incredible about that day is for one day of the year, 1 weekend of the year, we get to be the majority instead of the minority. And when you can really, really see that, palpably see it and feel it, is when you look around the park and you see red everywhere. So when someone's not wearing red, you're actually not being counted. So we really do encourage the red, even if it's not your favorite color.
I don't remember who said it originally. Maybe it was Robin Tyler, a well-known activist, but I know that she either quotes it or she came up with it. But she said that, you know, we would all have our civil rights if one day we woke up and we were all purple, because everyone would know how many gay and lesbian and LGBT people they know, and they would want to support us. So
yeah,
while Gay Days at Disneyland is very much a fun social event, it also is a political and transformative event.
Yes, and you know, we're very non-in-your-face about the politics of it, but the politics of it were very clear to us from the beginning, especially 15 years ago. As the world has changed, it's become, you know, and we've assimilated, things are less, what's the word? Less urgent in this particular regard. But at the beginning, it was a big deal to walk down Main Street holding hands with your partner. And we knew that in doing that as a mix-in, we were making a very, very distinct statement, and an important one, and we still feel that way. I mean, we still get the occasional, you know, what the hell do you people need Gay Days for? You know, it's fine if you're gay, but why do you have to announce it? You know, those kind of ignorant comments, and those kinds of ignorant comments are exactly why we need Gay Days.
Well, what I say to people when I get into this sort of conversation, and they happen to be heterosexual, I said, what if you had to eliminate anything from your behavior and interaction with other people that would lead observers to know that you were heterosexual? Imagine what your life would be like if you had to behave in a way where people could not know by looking and listening and talking to you that you are heterosexual. Imagine how that would impact your life. And the point I try to make is just by being ourselves to other people is making some sort of announcement, and for us it's just living our lives.
Well, yes, I agree with your analogy. I think at Gay Days, the fact that it's called Gay Days and people are wearing a shirt that says Gay Days, that is an announcement. People don't wear shirts typically that say, you know, I'm straight. But I agree with your point, and I think it's a sound argument.
Well, yeah, sure. I was basically referring to what you were saying earlier. But now, explain exactly what you mean by the term mix-in.
I'm sorry, by the term what?
Mix-in?
Oh, mix-in. It means that the park isn't exclusively, you don't have to prove that you're gay to go in. Everybody's there. So unlike sort of gay night, the former gay night, where the park was closed to anybody except for people who had specifically bought a ticket for gay night, on Gay Days, the park is open to anybody who shows up.
Okay. When we come back, I want to talk about your book, and then we'll get into the details of this year's event. So I'll be back with Eddie Shapiro right after this.
How many times have you been on vacation with naked men swimming and sunbathing and very much enjoying one another's company? This is a common experience in Palm Springs, California, where one of the most popular gay men's clothing optional resorts is the Warm Sands Villas, conveniently located near the airport, restaurants, and nightlife. Guests may choose from a variety of room types and enjoy 24-hour access to the pool, hot tub, and roof deck with an unobstructed view of stunning mountains and the surrounding area. For more information, check out warmsandsvillas.com. To view a 20-minute documentary about the Warm Sands Villas, check out the videos at SnowbizNow.com.
And now it's time to check in with Tony Marchese at Trio Restaurant, where Palm Springs eats.
We have guests that come here every week and just sit at the bar because they meet new people all the time. Every week someone tells us they met someone new at Trio, and then they come back with them the next week after. So that's the kind of place you want to be. When you feel at home, you're happy. Mark and I are from the Midwest, so when we opened Trio, we wanted to bring that Midwest feeling here to California. Our pot roast is our #1 seller. Our soul is unbelievable. So we're affordable. We have a great staff. You're always welcome.
For a video all about Trio, go to SnowbizNow.com and click on the video tab in the sub-menu, or check out TrioPalmSprings.com.
Join Desert AIDS Project for our biggest walk ever, the 25th Anniversary Palm Springs AIDS Walk, presented by the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians. This year, we are honored as the recipient of the inaugural Spirit of Stonewall Advocate of the Year Award. Register online today at desertaidsproject.org and walk away with a cool Keith Haring-inspired t-shirt. The 2012 Palm Springs AIDS Walk kicks off Sunday, November 4th. Registration opens at 7:30 a.m. Come out and walk, show DAP the love.
New designer furnishings, sparkling cocktail rings, vintage jeans and shirts for moms, teens, boys, and flirts. Area rugs and stylish bedding design your wedding. Shiny knickknacks and glam Hollywood throwbacks. You'll find it here at Revivals. Voted Best of the Valley thrift stores. Now with even more new treasures, plus one-of-a-kind consignment and estate items. Fashion, accessories, furniture, it's all in store at Revivals. Find it here. Visit us at revivalstores.com to find a Revivals store near you.
You're listening to Snowbiz Now with Nicholas Snow.
Small screen,
Big Queen. Worldwide audience. It's not radio. It's Gadio.
I am so excited because now, just by being a listener of Snowbiz Now, you get to save money at some of the best establishments around the world. For coupons and special offers exclusively for Snowbiz Now listeners, go to SnowbizNow.com and click on the Coupons Special Offers tab in the main menu. You'll be glad you did. If you would like to make a special offer to Snowbiz Now listeners, get in touch with me. To do that, go to SnowbizNow.com and click on the contact link in the submenu. I am so excited! Did I sound like Oprah?
And I'm back with Eddie Shapiro. We're talking about Gay Days Anaheim now in its 15th year. But you, along with Jeffrey Epstein, have also written a book called Queens in the Kingdom, the unofficial, the ultimate gay and lesbian guide to the Disney theme parks. Queens in the Kingdom.
That is correct.
At what point along your Gay Days experience did you decide to write the book?
That was not a decision made by either, well, it was a decision made by either of us, but it was sort of thrust upon us, which was a lovely thing to happen when people are thrusting a book at you. After that first Gay Days at Disney World that I talked about earlier, we each wrote articles for different newspapers, and then we wrote an article together for Instinct magazine. In the article that we wrote together, I wanted it to be journal entries where we sort of went back and forth, alternated journal entries, so that we would each have different perspectives on things, and that we could, have the breathing room within the article to disagree, so that we weren't speaking as one voice. And that created kind of a banter between us that sort of a publisher saw that and thought it was really, really fun, that sort of, frenemies energy that we had going on. So asked us to expand the article into a book, so we did.
Okay. And when I know you have an updated edition, but when was the book first published?
The book was first published in 2003, and then there was a subsequent edition expanded and altered in 2007. And we're actually waiting now. It's due for an update, but there's been so much change with the opening of Cars Land and Buena Vista Street and everything that's new at California Adventure here in Disneyland, and the huge expansion of Fantasyland in Disney World that's coming later this year. We're waiting for all of that work to be completed before we do a new update. But we do regularly post updates to the book on queensinthekingdom.com, so that if you were going to the park and wanted to know about rides that are not covered in the original book, it's there available for you on the website.
Okay. Now, how did the two of you meet?
We met in college, actually. I was in a production of Pippin, and Jeffrey ran Follow Spot, and we met.
And were you romantically involved, or just
never,
good friends?
Never. We get that question all the time. And people who see us together frequently think that we behave like a married couple, but because we finish each other's sentences and that sort of thing, but we have never, ever been romantically involved.
So you just have a wonderful, great, and beautiful friendship. And did you both have, when did you first go to a Disney theme park?
The first time I was taken to a Disney theme park, I was 2, and I went to Disneyland at that time. But throughout my childhood, I only went a couple of times because my parents were both very unimpressed with the parks, and my mother, in fact, has been quoted as saying, "If one more plastic thing sings at me, I'm going to shoot it." So they were not Disney people per se. So when I sort of came into my own and became an adult and had the ability to go on my own, I was sort of reclaiming all those missed opportunities, from childhood.
And therefore that's what you went on to do, and I think it's really beautiful because we have had to spend most of our lives hidden, and for the younger kids growing up, there's certainly much more visibility and inclusion, but there's still a lot of hatred and homophobia, and for someone to go and be themselves and to have fun at the happiest place on earth, I think that's such a cool thing.
I agree. You don't need to push me hard to agree on that one. But I also think that there's something that we used to say a lot when we first started Gay Days, that the Disney theme parks are America's #1 family destination, and for gay people, for many of us, our families are family of choice. So Gay Days is an opportunity for us to enjoy the parks with our families as opposed to our biological families. And we think it's special for that reason.
I am just looking right now at your Facebook page, facebook.com/Gay Days Anaheim. And it's just really fun to connect with other people that like the experience and the event, and see their photos and your photos. What kind of can you come up with like 2 or 3? I'm sure you have many, but 2 or 3 anecdotes about feedback you've gotten from people who've gone to the event and how it's really touched or transformed them in some way?
Yeah, I could. That was the wrong question to ask me because we can be here now for the next 10 hours with me telling you anecdotes.
Let's do that. We have a full. I have a full hour with you, so let's hit them.
Well, I can give you a couple.
Okay.
Some of my favorites. There was one that we received from a woman in Chicago who was writing to say that she and her family, this was a few years ago, she and her family had come to Gay Days, or come to, I should say, Disneyland over Gay Days weekend. And they had been saving up a lot of money for this, and it was the daughter's birthday. I think it was her 12th or 11th. And they got there and they were appalled to see that the weekend that they had chosen for this birthday celebration was Gay Days. But they were there, they had saved, they were going to make the most of it. And they went to the parks, and this woman was shocked at how friendly everybody was and how all of these people, her daughter was wearing a birthday button, so all of these gay people in red shirts were wishing her daughter a happy birthday and coming over and saying hello, and everybody was just friendly and polite and warm, and all of her preconceived notions about what Gay Days was going to be were completely unfounded. And she was writing to say how thrilled she was and that the family could not afford to come again that year, but were saving to come back for Gay Days the following year. And that's the kind of stuff. I mean, that made me cry.
Well, I'm crying right now. I mean, I'm not making that up. It's just a very moving story.
And it was at a time when, as I said, it was a few years ago. So it was at a time when we were getting more hate mail than we do. So I started reading that letter, thinking it was going to be, total hate, and it just was the opposite, and was so unexpected and so lovely. We have marriage proposals at Gay Days all the time, so I always hear about those. Sometimes I even get pictures of them, with men or women down on one knee, or I hear about people celebrating their anniversaries at Gay Days. That's also always quite wonderful, quite joyous. And also stories from kids who have written to us to talk about the fact that they are gay and they don't necessarily feel safe or comfortable being gay in their communities, and Gay Days is an opportunity for them to be themselves. And obviously, for them to get there at all means that they have parents who are supportive enough to bring them, and in some cases drop them off. But that they feel the sense of community that they don't otherwise have is really powerful, and it's really personally important for me to hear that stuff, because I spent a lot of time. My career used to be the director of AIDS Walk New York and AIDS Walk Los Angeles, and I would go back and forth between the two cities running those two events. And when I left, I still consult with them, but when I left and I started working on Gay Days full time, I really had pangs of feeling that I had been doing work that was quote unquote important, and now my work was much more frivolous, and I wasn't sure that I was okay with that. And the Facebook messages that you mentioned, and also the feedback that we get from people, reminds me that Gay Days actually really is very important to some people, to a lot of people, and that there are people who come from not just all over the country, but all over the world. I mean, we have people coming in from Ireland and from the United Kingdom and Australia that I'm aware of for this year alone. It really matters, and there are people from communities that are less welcoming that need this kind of event in order to feel at home in their own community of gay people. So on that level, I needed the reminder that it is in fact work that matters to people, and that Facebook communication, which was the jumping off place for this question, really helps me with that, because I see all of the enthusiasm of people who are just getting so excited about coming.
Tell me about the first year. And what surprised you? What kind of flack did you get? What stands out in your memory about the first year?
I have to say that what stands out in my memory is virtually nothing, and that is because, as I said, very old. No, it is because that first year, the whole thing was. It was all so gradual. That first year, all we did was spread the word that we were, and this is, by the way, how Gay Days in Florida started as well. Gay Days began with a guy and a group of friends spreading the word amongst their friends to come to Disneyland this day and wear red. And so that's what we did, too. We didn't plan any in-park meetups or gatherings or any parties or anything like that. We just spread the word to wear red. There was no Facebook at that time, but we did send emails around. And because I was working at AIDS Walk, and we were doing, every weekend, we were doing canvassing out on the streets, so I was also handing out flyers to tell people that this gay event was happening at Disneyland. And that first year, we had about 2,500 people show up by Disney park estimates in red shirts. And all it was just people in the park, and Jeffrey and I walking around just feeling giddy at spotting the red. And that was great, but it was a gradual growth each year. As more and more people came, then we started adding elements, and then within that time, and we're older than Disney California Adventure, so within that time a whole other park opened, which meant that we could expand into a whole other day and make it a multi-day event. So gradual.
That's actually a great segue to talk about the specific event this year, and tell me sort of what happens each day. When do people typically arrive? Where do they stay? Just take us through the event day by day.
Well, I got to tell you, Nicholas, it is baffling to me when they arrive. I would always assume that, people are just coming in for the weekend, but we sell through Disney. We get a rather sizable hotel block where we're able to offer, if I guarantee a certain number of rooms, we can offer really, really favorable rates for the Disney Park property hotels. So I do that, and I get regular reports, and people are checking in as early as Monday of the week, even though our events don't start until Friday. So a lot of people come in and sort of make a full week of it. But our events actually kick off on Friday, October 5th. And the very first thing that happens is the opening of the Welcome Center that I mentioned before. When we open the Welcome Center, we have huge lines out front because people are just excited. So they come in, they get their shirts, they meet our vendors, they get free stuff, they pick up their party tickets, and they're just sort of enjoying the resort. Then later in the day at 5 o'clock on Friday, Disney's internal gay and lesbian group, Pride, has a cocktail party for all Gay Days attendees, and anybody's invited. Also at the Grand Californian Hotel in an outside courtyard, and they serve hors d'oeuvres, and it's just a really sort of nice welcome to the resort. And immediately following that, we have a couple of really fun things going on. Derek and Romaine from Sirius Satellite Radio, who do the Derek and Romaine show every day, they will be doing a live broadcast that they do every year from the House of Blues, Anaheim at Downtown Disney. And at the same time, we will be doing a couple of free screenings. The first one is the ABC series Nashville. We'll be having its premiere at Gay Days, or I should say sneak peek, because it isn't as if we're rolling out a red carpet or anything. But we'll be showing it before it airs on television. And then right after that, the new logo series, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, will have its world premiere. It has not been seen by the public anywhere. And so that's going to be shown at Gay Days, and we have a couple of the drag queens with us. Raven and Jujubee will be there in person on Friday night for that screening. And then after that, we do our first party, the Wonderland Party, which is at Brennan's Jazz Kitchen at Downtown Disney. And that is, there's a dance floor, and it's on a terrace overlooking Downtown Disney, and it's really, really fun and a good way to sort of connect with people who you'll see throughout the weekend. But the whole thing is a benefit for the Trevor Project. So 100% of the ticket sales go to Trevor for that Friday night party. And so that's Friday, and I'm already exhausted, aren't you? I mean, that's a lot of stuff. But Saturday morning, the Welcome Center kicks off, is open all weekend long, and of course Disneyland opens at 8 a.m., and I love to get there right at park opening and watch the red shirts pouring in. And it's funny, it's exactly what you'd expect. In the morning, early in the morning, what you see most are families coming in, people who have kids, who are up early. And then when you hit like the 10 o'clock range, that's when you see sort of, the other gays stumbling out of bed and making it to the park and getting there, people who are recovering from Wonderland the night before. But the park fills up, and we start our unofficial official gatherings within the park. At 11, we do a big group ride on the steamboat, and it's really kind of amazing, the Mark Twain steamboat in Frontierland, just to see that huge steamboat completely filled with red shirts.
I just want to stop you right there to let our listeners know that if they go to Gay Days Anaheim, on the front page is a video, and in the video you can see that steamboat that's filled with people in red shirts. Yeah, and what's become even more amazing is the group is so big now of people just wanting to ride that steamboat. They'll only let so many people on at once because of weight of the boat, otherwise it would sink. So it takes 4 runs of the steamboat to accommodate everybody. So what you see on that video is only 25% of all of the people who end up riding. It's quite extraordinary. And right after that, we do, at the same time that that's happening, we do a scavenger hunt in the park, and that's something to sign up for on the Gay Days website if you want to do that. There are teams, and it's for real, Disney diehards who want to do something different.
And then immediately following the scavenger hunt and the big ride, we have lunch meetup. So for the bears, there's the Hungry Bear restaurant over in Critter Country, and they do a special Gay Days meal, package meal there. Yeah, we do that. And for the lesbians, we have a lesbian luncheon at the Zocalo restaurant in Frontierland. And for families, we have a family gathering at the Plaza Inn on Main Street. So lunch everywhere. And then people are on their own doing whatever they do until 2:30, where we do a big group photo for anybody who wants to participate. We all gather and do a huge red photo. And then at 4 o'clock, we all watch the parade together. The parade viewing is so fun when everybody around you is all in red and cheering for the characters, and the characters play right to the crowd. I mean, Peter Pan saying, "Do you believe in fairies?" You can imagine fun. So, and after that, we do something. The drag queen Mama does.
I know Mama. She's a friend.
Okay, so Mama leads a group at 5 o'clock in the Tiki Room, and they do the full Tiki Room for each number in the in the Tiki Room show. She's got choreography that you do from your seat, so it's not like you're standing up and dancing, but sort of arm choreography and with your head. And she leads the crowd in this choreographed Tiki Room number. And again, she had to do last year 4 showings of the tikis just to cycle through all of the people because everybody was so excited for that. And Disney was shocked because when was the last time you saw a line for the Tiki Room? There was a line that went all the way down Main Street. So that's really fun. And then in the evening hours on Saturday at 7 p.m., Miss Coco Peru is doing a show. We love Coco, so she's doing a live comedy performance at the Grand Californian. And immediately following that, we have 2 things going on. There's a youth dance party for kids, people under 21. It's free. It's put on by the Trevor Project, but it's a way for the kids who can't come to any of our dance parties to sort of, A, have time with each other, and B, get their own sort of, dance event. We also have a lesbian lounge over at the Annabella Hotel, which is right around the corner, and their poolside lounge is for the women, and that will be hosted by Raquel Castaneda from the Real L World. And the rest of us will be over at the Kingdom Party at House of Blues. Kingdom is the centerpiece dance party of the weekend, and our headliners this year will be the group Karmin, or I should say duo, Karmin, who's hit single Broken Hearted has been big this year, and also Kimberly Caldwell from American Idol. She'll be performing as well. DJ Kimberly S. is spinning, and we have some surprise numbers going on with some drag queens and some hot dancers, and it's always a really, really fun party, if I do say so myself. And at that point, by the time that party is over, I'm kind of ready to die, but I can't because we have a whole Sunday. So Sunday comes up the next morning, and again, people are stumbling out of bed. We have a couple of morning options for people. For the early birds, California Adventure opens at 8 o'clock that morning, and if you haven't been to Cars Land before, I say get over there and get to Cars Land while the crowds are quiet. But we have brunch options for people who are not in such a rush to get into the park. There's a gay brunch at Brennan's Jazz Kitchen, which is where we did Wonderland on Friday night. And for the ladies, for the first time ever, we're doing a lesbian brunch at the Annabella. And that has a Bloody Mary hangover bar. Yay. And immediately following that over at the Annabella is our pool party, Plunge. This is our 3rd year of Plunge, and Plunge is kind of my favorite time of the year. It's perfect. It's so much fun to just be playing in a pool with all gay people around the corner from Disneyland, and they've got a barbecue going and bars, and it's fantastic. So spend the early afternoon there before heading back toward the park, and we have right before the evening kicks in, we're doing something, another charity event at the Grand Californian. Last year we did an intimate conversation with Carol Channing. This year we have an intimate conversation with Florence Henderson, and she will be there doing a Q&A with me. And that the tickets from that, as well as the merchandise sales from that, will all be benefiting Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. So really excited about that and chatting with Mrs. Brady. And following that, we will be doing stuff in California Adventure. We have a brand new opportunity for people to buy a dessert buffet package and fireworks viewing from the new Carthay Circle restaurant and watch the fireworks and have a dessert buffet. We'll be gathering and watching World of Color together. And at the Grand Californian Hotel, we have the Hearthstone Lounge. We sort of take over that space for what we call Gay at the Grand. And that's our sort of closeout of the weekend. So that... And I left out some little things, like on Sunday there's also a lesbian ice cream social over at California Adventure, and there's a bears ride on the water ride on the California River Rapids. So it's there's a ton, and I feel like you're probably napping because I've been talking for so long.
No, I'm not. I'm calling my travel agent. GayDaysAnaheim.com for people that are salivating at the descriptions. Now, explain to me how this is all priced. And, for example, do people buy their park tickets separately? Are they included in a package? How does it all work?
No, it's actually a really interesting model for, sort of event planning, in that the vast majority of the purchases that happen, park tickets, hotel, food, souvenirs, all of that goes to Disney. So park tickets are bought through Disney. However, if you log on to the Gay Days website, we have access to a really fantastic rate for park tickets. Again, because we're guaranteeing a certain number, they give us a really great favorable rate. So I highly recommend for anybody who needs tickets to buy them off of the site, because the savings are substantial.
And how much are the tickets at the gate versus the website for each park? How does that work?
It depends, because there are so many different ticket types, so it depends on the ticket type you buy. You can buy 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, park hopper, single park per day, twilight, which is only after 4 p.m., child. There are so many variations.
So if someone bought the 3-day park hopper, it would basically get them into every park for all your events.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, many of our events and sort of our schedule, the Gay Day schedule, is available on the website. Many of our events are not actually in the park. So if you wanted to come and just go to the parties, you don't need park admission for that. And the party tickets are for sale on the Gay Days website. You can either buy them individually, or you can buy VIP Gold or VIP Silver packages, which gets you into all of the parties and sort of one-stop shopping.
Okay. How many people are on your team, and how many work with you year-round, and how many do you bring on board for the months preceding the event?
It's an embarrassing question almost, because when you say, how many are with me year-round, that's one, and that's me. But that's not 100% true. There's a committee of 4 other people who, while they don't work on the event year-round, I have periodic meetings. We probably do 3 a year, just to discuss the elements that are coming up for Gay Days, and so that I get feedback, so that all the ideas aren't mine, so that I just get other people's feedback on, hey, what about this person, or what if we did that, so we consult. But then when the weekend kicks in, all of those people become the staff, and we also bring in additional volunteers. The one other person who works on it with more regularity is Jeffrey. He is in charge of the content on our website. So he maintains that throughout the year.
Okay. When we come back, I want to talk to you about your book and get your gay take on Disney parks worldwide.
Okay.
We'll be back after this.
Are you captivated and wondering just what is next? Well, you should be. The score you're listening to is by award-winning producer, arranger, composer, and musician, Bruno Brugnano. Bruno has recorded and performed with leading musicians worldwide and has produced over 100 albums. Leading and respected directors and producers from throughout the world have entrusted Bruno to compose riveting and compelling scores for their film and television projects. For more information, visit www.brugnanobruno.webs.com. That's www.brugnanobruno.webs.com. Don't even consider making a movie without Bruno Brugnano. Seeking an adventure of a lifetime? Thailand awaits you with world-class resorts and spas, breathtaking beaches, beautiful Buddhist temples, and Bangkok, complete with SkyTrains, subways, and ultra-modern shopping malls. Leave home as a man and return as a woman if that's who you truly are. After all, many of Thailand's private hospitals are world leaders in sexual reassignment surgery. Start your adventure at facebook.com/Visit Thailand. One of the world's finest Italian restaurants is actually in a suburb of Bangkok, Thailand. Oregano Pizza and Pasta. A bit of a trek by taxi from the central business district, but oh, so worth it. Preparing secret recipes passed down for generations, chefs have decades of experience using only the finest imported ingredients. Oregano, spelled with an I. Google Oregano Pizza and Pasta Bangkok. You'll be glad you did. Can't get enough of Hollywood? Are you bursting with news and gossip of your own? You are cordially invited to join our free social network at notesfromhollywood.com, home of the paparazzi prison. Sign up for free now. Publicize your events. Share your blogs, photos, and dreams. We report and celebrate worldwide adventures in travel and entertainment. Isn't it time to honor your inner movie star? Do so now at notesfromhollywood.com. You're listening to SnowbizNow with Nicholas Snow. Small screen, big queen, worldwide audience. It's not radio. It's Gadio.
I am so excited because now, just by being a listener of SnowbizNow, you get to save money at some of the best establishments around the world. For coupons and special offers exclusively for SnowbizNow listeners, go to SnowbizNow.com and click on the Coupons Special Offers tab in the main menu. You'll be glad you did. If you would like to make a special offer to SnowbizNow listeners, get in touch with me. To do that, go to SnowbizNow.com and click on the contact link in the submenu. I am so excited! Did I sound like Oprah?
My show gets listened to over and over again, and many people will hear this after the 2012 Gay Days Anaheim. But this is an annual event, and they can always go to GayDaysAnaheim.com to plan for it the next year. But if they go to QueensInTheKingdom.com, they can get your insights about all the parks in the world, I take it. So, have you been to all the parks?
We have not. I have not been to Hong Kong. So what we write about Hong Kong, we write about based on what we've read about. So we're not reviewing the rides; we're just sort of talking about what's there. But with all of the others, yes, I've been there.
Okay, so what are some of your personal favorites about Disneyland that you write about in the book, and what are some of the things you say about them?
Well, that is a very difficult question because my favorites for me are not necessarily the same thing as my favorites for somebody else.
Okay,
so,
let's approach this differently. How do people use the book, and what will they learn in the Disneyland section?
Okay. The book is a guidebook, so it is meant to be instrumental in your planning for the trip to the Disney parks, either to carry around with you while you're in the park, or that night before you step foot in a park, but to read about. There are many guidebooks out there about the Disney parks, but this one is geared toward a gay and lesbian sensibilities. So what's going to matter for us that might not matter in the same way for a couple from Cleveland, and what resonates for us differently. It's also bitchy as all get out. So if a ride sucks, we are not afraid to say, don't waste your time on this. This is crap. And of course, it's totally subjective. But that is the joy of writing a book, is you get to be totally subjective.
Okay, what is your least favorite thing to do at Disneyland?
Wow, my least. You mean like attraction?
Well, yeah. What makes the suck list? From your personal opinion.
At Disneyland, there's this the former Carousel of Progress is now a space called Interventions, and they keep trying to do things to it to make it interesting, and they keep failing miserably, and it's just a waste of space and money. Or there are also other rides that, like Autopia, which is the little cars, which I can totally see being excited if you are 3.5. But by the time you're 3 3/4 or maybe 4, that is on the suck list. I mean, it's just, I actually drive a car to get to Disneyland, so I don't need to be in a car that's going, 6 miles an hour on the Fake Freeway.
Okay, what is the thing that you're going to do every time you go to Disneyland without fail, and why?
I am a huge fan of the classics. So every time, without fail, I will ride Pirates of the Caribbean and I will ride the Haunted Mansion. And I will almost always ride Splash Mountain, which is not quite a classic, but it's been around since '89, so it counts. But sometimes I don't want to get wet. If it's cold out, I don't want to get wet. But I love those 3 rides. And
what is the biggest, scariest roller coaster type of ride now? Is it Space Mountain?
No, and the biggest coaster that they have is California Screamin' at California Adventure. But you asked biggest, scariest, and I don't think there's such a thing there as biggest, scariest. Again, unless you're 3.5. Their roller coasters are they're big and they're fast, but they are not especially scary. It's not like going to Magic Mountain where you think that there's an excellent chance that the car could go flying off and you will not see the light of day again. I never feel that at Disney.
Okay, it's not a scary place. It's the happiest place on earth.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Let's go across the country to Walt Disney World. What are some of the things you touch upon in your book? And once again, what is something that you're just not going to waste your time on the next time you go to Walt Disney World? And what is something you know for sure you will do?
Well, Disney World, particularly from a gay perspective, is a whole other animal. Disney World, as you probably know, has 4 parks. There's the Magic Kingdom, there's Epcot, there's Animal Kingdom, and there's Hollywood Studios. And my personal favorite, I love spending time at Epcot, because in the World Showcase section of Epcot, which has 11 pavilions each one dedicated to a different country around the world, even if you're not riding rides, even if the park is jam-packed, the architecture is still really just lovely, but you can go, the famous thing to do is go drinking around the world, have a cocktail in each one of the pavilions, but they're also, each one of the pavilions is staffed by people from their own country. So you can pretty much flirt around the world with, hot Norwegian men or Italian men or French men, and that is always fun. So I'm big on Epcot. Even the merchandise is indigenous. It comes from whatever country, and they import it. I never ever like to miss spending time in World Showcase when I'm at Epcot. And the things that I hate, well, also at Epcot, there is a ride that used to be called the River of Time, El Rio del Tiempo in the Mexico Pavilion, and we used to call it the River of Wasted Time because it was just so boring. They have tried to zhuzh it up a bit by adding Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros to it, but I still think it's a travesty. So, yeah, not so much.
Okay. Now, let's go to Gay Paris.
Well, Paris, the Parisian park, a lot of people complain about it because it's in France, and when you're casting people for park roles, French people in park roles who are not sort of schooled in the Disney broad-smiling, friendly American, whatever you want to call that, thing, that Disney thing, that uniquely Disney shiny 18-year-old cast member thing, it actually changes the atmosphere in the park. A lot of people complain that the cast members in France are rude, and I can't necessarily disagree. However, I think that the French park is extraordinary because when they were designing it, they very smartly realized that there were actually real castles and chateaux that were not that far away, and that there was actual architecture in France. So in order to compete with that, the look of this place had to be that much more fanciful. And it is. It is a stunningly beautiful park. So I love it for that reason.
Okay. Now, you first reported on Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Cruise Line in 2003, and then you began to write about it. So tell me about your various experiences of Disney cruises and your poor audience, because I can talk for hours and hours about Disney Cruise Line. I am a sick Disney Cruise Line addict. I need help. I need to be in a program somewhere. I literally just got off a week ago. I just got off my 21st Disney cruise. I'm addicted to them. They are fantastic, and I've written multiple times for multiple periodicals about why Disney Cruise Line is great to sail without kids, because I think most people don't know that. They assume that it's something that you do as a family, but there's so much great adult-only stuff. And if you like Disney, the shows are, of course, all Disney, but then you can sort of get away from children that aren't yours with so many adult-only areas. It's beautiful. If I could be on the Disney ship without working on the Disney ship all year long, I would.
Okay, and has there ever been a Gay Days on a Disney cruise, like a gay cruise on a Disney ship?
It's funny that you should ask that question, because it is something that I've been exploring, and I've just been in contact with Disney again about that one. If we were to do it, it would be a ridiculous expense to attempt to charter the Disney ship. That hasn't happened before. No one's chartered one of their ships for, an Atlantis-type cruise. But the notion of doing a mix-in the way we do in the parks, just sort of announcing, hey, on this cruise, this is going to be a cruise where, we're going to go and hope you'll join us for a gay cruise. We've been in conversations about trying to make that happen, what time of year to make that happen, and which ship. So, yeah, I'm hoping to see that in the near future.
Well, and gay men know how to cruise.
Yes, exactly.
But I'm bummed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when we come back, I'm going to take one more break. When we come back, we're just going to recap how our listeners can find out about all of this right after this. I want to thank you for listening to SnowbizNow. I would lose my title of PromoHomo if I didn't once in a while let you know that if you're interested in my services as an actor, as a master of ceremonies, as a voiceover artist, if you want me to appear in your movie or your TV program or help support your event, or if you want me to do a live performance of my HIV testing safer sex awareness song, The Power to Be Strong, let me know. Visit SnowbizNow.com, where you'll find my contact information. And for the specific information about my acting, including clips of past performances, hover over the About item in the main sub-menu. Just hover over the About item in the main sub-menu.
SnowbizNow is a listener and advertiser-supported program.
If you believe in the value and importance of this program, we invite you to join Team SnowbizNow today. One option is to subscribe to SnowbizNow.com. Not only will you receive our newsletter, you'll be entitled to add your own content to the website. Another option is to make an annual financial contribution toward the production of the show. If you do, we'll acknowledge you on the air throughout the year as an executive producer. Finally, if you want our growing worldwide audience to know about your business, advertise with us. For more information about all these options, simply visit SnowbizNow.com and click on the Team SnowbizNow link in the main menu. Join Team SnowbizNow today. Thank you in advance for your fantastic support. You're listening to Snowbiz Now with Nicholas Snow.
Small screen, big queen, worldwide audience. It's not radio. It's Gadio.
And I'm back for the home stretch of my fascinating interview with Eddie Shapiro, one of the founders of Gay Days Anaheim.
You're very sweet to call it fascinating because I feel like I have been rambling on, and people are like, "Oh my God, this guy has problems. He is so addicted to Disney."
Hey, I don't throw that word around lightly. I think it's very interesting. And, you know, there's so many people in the world that they have just the wrong impression of gay, but they sort of know about Disneyland. And to have a conversation that brings the two together, I think, is quite enlightening.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you see that because one of the things that I'm frequently asked, and I just told you I just got off the ship, and I was asked by one of the senior officers on the ship. He said, you know, what is it about the, you know, gays and Disney? And it's, of course, an impossible question because any answer is going to be generalizing. I mean, what is it about gays and Madonna, or what is it about gays and Judy Garland, or, you know, whatever. But the answer that I gave him, pure conjecture, but the answer that I gave him was, well, I think a lot of gay people conceivably grow up in environments where they don't feel like they fit in. They don't feel, some of them don't feel safe, but no matter what, they know that they're different. And that can be a hard thing. And when you go into a Disney environment, there are a few things. First of all, in Disney movies, those underdogs, those lead characters, they're always the characters who feel different, and they always come out on top. So we always sort of, there's an ability to relate to those people, or elephants, or fish, or whatever. But then on top of that, you're also, when you go into a Disney park or onto a Disney ship for that matter, you're in an environment where everybody is friendly and everything is clean and pretty and safe, and you get to escape into a fantasy world and sort of live a happy childhood where you don't feel like you don't belong. You feel like you do belong. And even if that child has now grown up, the child within is somehow satisfied. So, I don't know. There's probably more to it. And again, I'm generalizing, but I think that may have something to do with the gay fascination with all things Disney.
I would have said the exact same thing if you were to ask me the question. My answer would have been very similar. But another thing that I'll throw in is that so many of the activities that happen in the organized gay community are geared toward gay men as opposed to women, and within the gay male community, there's a lot of pressure to have a certain physique, and to especially in Southern California. And I imagine that your events are just really inclusive of people from every walk of life who happen to be part of the LGBT community.
Yeah, and I'm actually really glad that you brought that up because that's something that we work really hard to do. And all of the, I apologize to your listeners for my rambling before when I was going on and on about the schedule, but there's so much to it, the Gay Days weekend schedule. But when we plan that schedule, everything, we're really trying hard to have programming that appeals so that there's something for everybody. One of the things that Jeffrey and I thought that first year that we went to Orlando was that it was a very, very sort of party boy-centric event. And that's great. We totally loved that and had a great time, but also felt that we wanted for our event to open it up so that people who were not necessarily West Hollywood types or Chelsea types would also feel like there was something there for them. So Disney, of course, does that all on its own, but then within the events that we plan in and around the parks, we really wanted to have something for everyone, as I said.
Well, once again, congratulations. So for everything that the listener needs to know, they can go to GayDaysAnaheim.com. And the beauty of Facebook, if you go to Facebook.com/GayDaysAnaheim, not only can you like the page, but the way Facebook is set up, it will automatically tell you which of your friends like the page. So you can, like, for example, 37 of my friends like your page. So if
Well, that clearly means that you have to go to the people who don't and recruit them, because it's silly that they don't.
Well, you know what? I have 3,500 friends on Facebook, and right now I'll post a link to your Facebook page on my site as we're speaking. I am posting this right now.
How rude to be posting while you're on a call with me. That is just rude.
Yes, but I'm posting about you, so
I know. I suppose I can handle it.
Yes, and now at this moment, it's gone out to everyone and 12,000.
Fantastic. So theoretically, a good number of your listeners are Facebook friends, so they're now going to get this post. So there you go.
Well, actually, in the month of August, my show had 360,000 listeners. So
wow.
I don't have that many friends on Facebook yet. Well, congratulations. So GayDaysAnaheim.com, Facebook.com/GayDaysAnaheim. Are you on Twitter?
We are at Gay Days Anaheim.
Oh, well, can't forget that. So, do you have any final remarks?
Just that as I am gearing up for these next 2.5 weeks for the coming Gay Days, I am very excited. I hope that other people are as well, but they are more than welcome. If people have feedback about the event, either before, during, or after, Facebook is a great way to reach out and let us know, or on our webpage, there's a Contact Us button, and they can, send us their thoughts. We'd love to hear.
And how far in advance does someone need to order the official T-shirt from your website in time to get it by the event, or do they order it in advance and just pick it up at the event? How does that work?
Both. I mean, I'm sending shirts literally every day, so an order goes out pretty much the day after it comes in. So it's up to the U.S. Post Office whether or not it gets there in time for the event, although most of these orders, it's a couple of days, but I'll ship overnight if somebody wants to, or people can order a shirt and ask for it to be held at the Welcome Center. Any of that is possible.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Eddie, thanks for taking the time to be with us today, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to Snowbiz Now with Nicholas Snow.
Small screen,
big queen, worldwide audience. It's not radio. It's Gadio.
Before I wrap up the show, I'd like to conclude with my own song, The Power to Be Strong, which is to promote HIV testing and safer sex. I want to give a shout out to Bruno Brugnano, who produced the song, Ayano Kimura, who sings beautiful backup for me, O Natapon, who directed the music video, which you may view and share subtitled in 20 languages at youtube.com/thepowertobestrong. Have you had your HIV test? Could there be a chance that you might be HIV positive?
Out of the dark, let your light shine the way.
knowledge is power, turn the night into day. You're not alone, dance with me. Listen to me, open up, take a chance. Transform your life with this magical dance. Deep in your heart is the power to live. Precious and loved, you have so much to give. You're not alone, dance with me. The message of my song. Within you is the power to be strong. No matter who you are, no matter what you feel, this is your moment now, and your life is real. So get tested and live longer and be strong. Get tested and live longer and be strong. Rhythm and beat are a part of the dance, inflaming your soul, but please don't take a chance. When passion and love ignite flames of desire, take care of yourself, don't get burned by the fire. You're not alone, dance with me. Listen to the message of my song. Within you is the power to be strong. No matter who you are, no matter what you feel, this is your moment now, and your life is real. So play safely and live longer and be strong. Play safely and live longer and be strong. No matter who you are, no matter what you feel, this is your moment now, and your life is real. So play safely and live longer and be strong. Hear my song, life goes on. Get tested and live longer and be strong.
Snowbiz Now is brought to you by Nicholas Snow Productions. For everything you may wish to know about our company, to contact us about buying advertising or procuring our syndicated content, or to submit questions, comments, breaking news, or gossip, simply visit SnowbizNow.com. Once again, that's SnowbizNow.com. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the snowstorm. We're honored by your presence.